All right, so I've been getting a lot of questions over the past several months. A lot of those questions are audio-based, and within those audio-based questions, a lot of those could be summed up into one big question, which is how can I improve my mix? So that's what we're going to talk about today, how to improve your mix. But before we go into that, I kind of wanted to jump into some logistical stuff. About a month ago, I had posted a video. I created this channel and posted a video and didn't really introduce the channel, myself, or what all this is about. So I feel like I kind of want to do that right now, and then we'll get into the whole point of this video. So to start off with, my name is Dan, for those that don't know. I started in the production industry about 20 years ago, which is scary to think about. But started in the production industry. I've done everything from audio, lighting, video, and administrative stuff for everything in between. Mainly, it's been audio with a good bit of lighting and some video. The whole point of this channel was just that I get a lot of questions on a daily basis. And so I felt like maybe it was just a good idea. So this is something I'm just trying. I wanted to just express and share my experiences throughout my years of production industry, and for those things that maybe I can't cover. So, for example, I'm not a studio guy. I'm a musician, and I've done some studio stuff as a musician, but I am not an engineer in the studio, and those things are different. So, where I might lack some experience in certain areas, I may bring guests in, and we'll have them share their experiences. I want to post videos on a weekly basis. That's my goal. And unfortunately, as you may know, I posted a video about a month ago, and it's taken a month to post the second one. There was a bunch of traveling in there and a bunch of big projects, and then got really sick. But nevertheless, I'm back for those who care. Now, I will say this. Some of what I'm going to talk about, a lot of what I'm going to talk about could be subjective. So something that works for me, something that I may prefer, it may not work, or you may not prefer it for you. An EQ for me or a preference for myself may not exactly work in your environment, may not work with who you're working with. So it's up to you to take these things that I'm going to talk about and use them to your benefit, to implement them as you see fit. So, jumping back into the whole point of this video, to the good stuff, a lot of people are asking, how can I improve my mix? And unfortunately, that is such a vast topic, and it's hard to just like pinpoint certain things. There's so many variables that are involved in improving a mix. I don't know the console you're using. I don't know the PA that you're using. I don't know the processing. I don't know your source. I don't know the instruments. I don't know your gain structure. There's just so many things to cover. So I felt like a good idea would be to start from the beginning, to start from scratch. And that takes us to the source. And I feel like the source gets overlooked sometimes. I feel like as engineers, we get to our events or whatever it is we're mixing for, and we just assume and we have that hope that the source is already great and there's nothing that we need to do on that end. Even subconsciously, we just automatically go straight to the console sometimes and just go to town on the console, forgetting that our source could be a big issue. So many things we could talk about just within the source. So this, unfortunately, for some of you, you may hate it. This is going to be like a series of videos, but we're going to be a lot of getting into environments and showing you like instruments and actually showing you specific things, but really just talking about going to the source. Source could be anything from drums, a piano, guitar player, wind instrument, DJ even, servers, computer, like whatever. Anything that's giving you audio, that's your source. So I just felt like I needed to go there and say that. So if I say source, you just replace it with whatever you need. Source is vital. It's important, as I've said. It's the start of your mix. So if your source isn't good, your mix isn't going to be good. I should kind of rephrase it. Even with a great console and waves and processing and all this stuff, you can get it to sound decent. That works. But imagine if you went to the source and you made your source amazing, at least as amazing as it can get. Imagine how much better your mix is going to be. So why battle? Why struggle at the console by yourself with anxiety, worry, stress, and just all this stuff piling up when you could possibly go to the source and make it better to where when you get to the console, there's not much you have to do at that point. So now the question herein is, how do I change the source? Obviously, you need to know what you're doing. You need to know how to improve your source. And we'll talk about those things. We're going to go deeper. That's where all these other videos are going to come into play. We're going to go over how to tune drums, mic techniques, good, what are some good mics, gain structure, all that stuff. So we're going to get into all that. But today, again, we're just talking about realizing that you can go to the source. Now, before you go to the source, before you go to the musician, before you go to whatever it is that's giving you that source, this is mainly with people. If you have a source that's obviously, if you're just talking about a computer, whatever, just go do whatever you need to do. When you're dealing with people, when you're dealing with artists especially, it might be best to build that relationship first. So you may have to struggle a little bit if you feel like you've got a source that might be a little harder to recommend things to. You don't want to be offensive on your first day or your first week or first month or however long it takes to build that relationship. You want to show that you can be trustworthy. You want to gain that respect. And then from there, you can start providing recommendations and solutions. If a guitar player and a piano player are playing almost the same thing and it's just building up and you've got like a lot of mids maybe, and you're lacking some highs in your mix, maybe go to your guitar player and piano player and have them hash it out. Maybe you don't even have to maybe like produce the full and total solution, but just introduce it. Say, hey, I'm getting a lot of mids in the room. Can one of you give me some highs so I can kind of break this mix up a little bit and let it breathe and give it some character? One other thing I should mention is that sometimes, not even sometimes, I do it all the time. I always try to work it into the favor of the source, of the musician. I'm just going to say musician. So if I go to a musician, instead of saying, hey, your snare sounds like crap, a lot better ways that you could do that. And this is another way where you could build that relationship and respect. Instead of going to your drummer and saying, hey, your snare sounds like crap, work it into his favor. Work it into, be respectful about it. Hey man, your snare sounds amazing, but I'm battling with your snare. So I can make it sound great and you sound amazing. Can you possibly, maybe loosen the tension on the top head? Be respectful about it. Work it into his favor. And sometimes you may get a no. You may get complete disregard to your needs. And that's when you be the bigger person. Don't be a jerk about it, even if they are. Don't be a jerk about it. Respect them. Get out of there. Get back to the console and just do the best you can with what you've got. So I feel like we've covered a lot today. Again, it wasn't a lot of in-depth stuff into actually hands-on stuff, but I felt like this is really needed. That the source is important, and that you can go to the source, and if you can make it sound amazing at the source, how much better is your mix going to be? And just building that relationship with your source, with your band, with your speakers, whatever you got to do. Well, that's it for today. We'll be back next week, hopefully. I don't think anything's going to hold us up. And we'll actually dive into more of source stuff. So we'll actually do some more hands-on. We'll actually get down into the gear and explain things and show you how to fix things and issues and know where to go to resolve things. I don't know exactly what we're going to start with. There's just so many of them, and I'm excited to cover all of them. So over the next couple days, I'll figure out which one I want to do, and then we'll film it and be back here in a week. So for those of you who haven't subscribed or clicked the little bell in the bottom, please go ahead and do that. It'll let you know when we've posted stuff so you don't miss out. I feel like they're going to help a lot of people. I hope they do. That's really what this is all about, helping people and encouraging them and inspiring them. So anyway, see you guys next week.